SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
I'll pre-record on my count. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Roll A, fade up on A.
Southern Miss to the top. You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour.
All right, everybody, let's go. Super Talk Eagle Hour is on the air. Bob Getty, Kelly Sander. We're both in the Southern Bancorp studio here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, getting ready for another hour of Golden Eagle Sports Talk. We got a great interview coming up later in the show. The young lady's name is Kinsley Gordon-Sivley. And if that rings a bell, she is the center fielder for the Lady Eagle softball team, but she is also the new bride of Cross Sivley. And Kelly interviewed her. He, of course, coached Cross when he was a kid and known him all of his life. And you said that these are not matching personalities.
I don't know how these two, you talk about opposites attracting. As far as personality, they're both very young, attractive people. But,
right.
Man, Cross is so quiet. And then and Kinsley's just bubbly and, great.
Travis Creel joins us every Wednesday. Coach, I'll bet you know a little bit about Cross Sivley's personality. Have you met his wife, Coach?
I have met her. The softball uses our weight room sometimes, so I've got to meet her. Like Kelly said, she seems like a fun personality for sure.
Yeah, Cross. Now he's real outgoing and real loud and vocal, isn't he?
He'll open up a little bit after 5 years. He'll finally open up a little bit.
Coach Oz told us the other day that it had been so delightful to have Cross for 5 years, and he said, it took me a while to learn his language. Did you, I guess you could probably relate to that?
Yeah, and I know obviously I was coaching the pitchers. It took him a while to break through. I think it kind of happened after about 18 months, but he's obviously figured it out and done a great job.
Yeah, his wife says every once in a while, I said, does he ever get mad? Does Cross ever get mad? And she goes, yeah, and he'll just, holler rats.
Rats.
And I go, oh, wow. Boy, that is, how can you marry a thug like that would yell rats?
I tell you what, Coach Creel, though, he pitched some last night, and he's just been he's been such a dependable dude on the staff. I know you guys are really going to miss him when this year comes to an end.
Yeah, I think that word describes him really good. Dependable, steady. You know what you're going to get. Usually fills up the strike zone and competes, and he's been a huge asset for us, going on 4 years now.
Yeah, no question. All right, Coach, Golden Eagles let one get away from them last night, had a 5-0 lead over Tulane. I was kind of kicked back in the recliner and thinking we had this one iced away. But in college baseball, nothing is ever sure. And I know last night just a one-run midweek loss didn't really hurt the RPI at all. I think dropped 1 point. But disappointing, I guess, from your standpoint, like all of us fans.
Yeah, you want to win every game, especially when you do things when you don't do the little things right to lose games, right? So obviously, had all the momentum and just gave them some things, and they did a really good job of taking advantage of that. And then I thought their bullpen came in and they matched up with our lefties and righties, about 4 or 5 different guys, and did a really good job. It
all seemed to start when you have a situation where you have a walk and then a hit batter, and you put 2 guys on just freebies. And I know Coach Oz has told us before, Coach, that he would rather see somebody hit a home run than to get hit by a pitch or walk. And those things just always open the door to bad problems, don't they?
Yeah, we call them ingredients. Ingredients of big innings are walks, HBPs, and errors. You want ingredients on offense. You don't want them while you're on defense. And look, we've done a really good job of that for years now, and that's why we pitched the ball so well. But, it happens sometimes, and unfortunately last night was one of those times.
Yeah. The team did hit the ball, though. 3 home runs is so much fun watching them blast home runs. And it kind of looks like to me the Bulls back swinging the bat well, and I know that's a really good sign going down the stretch.
Yeah, you want to get your good players hot at the right time, and he looks great. He had a great weekend at South Alabama. Tucker Stockman, who obviously hasn't had the year that he's wanted, had a great weekend at South Alabama. And Dre Barrett's been swinging the bat really, really well. Unfortunately, kind of tweaked his hamstring, but hopefully get him back soon. And Yeah, I think we're playing good baseball. Obviously, we let one slip away last night, but I do think we're playing good and, confident in the upcoming games.
Before Kelly jumps in here, you did mention Dre Barrett, and it was noticeable last night when he wasn't in the lineup. Are you expecting him back on the field for the weekend, Coach?
We're hopeful. Rehabbing really hard. Took some swings yesterday on the field at Tulane, and the swing looks great. It's more once he hits the ball, what can he do, or can he play defense type situation. But he's working really hard to get back. He wants to play, and I feel pretty hopeful. I think the next 48 hours are going to be a big telltale with him.
Even if it doesn't work out, when you look at this Golden Eagle roster from top to bottom, injury-wise, it's been nearly blemish-free this whole year. It's been terrific. Coach, you've talked about plate approach before, but going up in the top of the seventh inning, when you're down a run, does plate approach change as opposed to maybe if you're leading by 1 or 2 runs?
Yeah, not really. I mean, it's more what type of pitcher's in the game. Last night they do a really good job of creating different looks. With Tulane, I think if they had better starting pitching on the weekend, they could be a real threat in that league because the bullpen has a bunch of really nice pieces. They had 2 or 3 lefties they brought in last night who lefties just do not hit, and they have 2 or 3 righties that are really, really tough on righties too. So, obviously, when you're down, the biggest key factor is getting that leadoff man on so we can do some things, do some action. If it's an action-type guy at the plate, or, if it's the middle of the order, we can maybe split a gap and tie the game.
It was 2 or 3 weeks ago on this very program that Coach Ostrander I had made a comment about, well, if you were scouting Southern Miss, would you start lefties? And he said pretty much, yeah, I would. I'd start lefties against us. Do you guys still feel vulnerable with a couple of weeks left in the regular season that if you guys have a weakness, it's the ability to consistently hit the lefties?
Yeah, it's tough to say because, in college baseball, the data is so small. Absolutely. You look at the first 25 games, it was a real struggle with Russo and Higdon and Morrison. But if you look at maybe the last 15 games or so, I think the stats would say differently. They had some really good at-bats on some really tough lefties at South Alabama. I mean, their closer is really good. And we came back and beat him. They brought in another guy on Saturday, a really tough lefty, who, Morrison had a big knock on, and Russo with the grand slam. These guys have hit lefties before. They've done it. It's in there. And, I really feel like the past 2-3 weeks, a lot has changed. So if you're asking me personally, I'm confident, and I'm truly mean that. I'm confident that we can hit lefties or righties as long as we're locked in and have our focus where it needs to be.
Yeah, with you said the last 2 or 3 weeks, the numbers have been better. How long does it take to get through the coaching grapevine that Southern Miss maybe is not as susceptible to lefties and that those numbers have picked up?
Well, with all the analytics and data these days, Kelly, I mean, everybody has everything you could possibly imagine. They have our batting average against lefties. They have our extra base hits, our home runs, our runs scored. So there ain't no grapevine anymore. There's data and analytics for everybody, so everybody can see that, anytime they want.
They keep track of stolen bases for Russo?
Yeah, I think they do.
That might not be such a difficult number to keep track of.
No, probably not. Coach, I want to ask you this question. I ask your players this every Monday, and I always get the same answer. And they tell me that they do block out all the noise around them. But, Coach, it's got to be hard. I mean, you guys are in the top 10 RPI here going down the stretch. That's so significant. As a coach, do you block that out? I mean, are you able to completely block that out? And does that kind of ranking and national, love that the team's been getting all year, does that add any pressure?
Yeah, I mean, I hope not. I don't think it does. You come to Southern Miss to be in these positions, right? I mean, you could go to other schools with less expectations and less aspirations, and I had to deal with this. But, I think it's a privilege to be in this position. And me personally, no. I mean, if I'm being completely honest with you, I don't look. I don't know what we're ranked. I don't know what our RPI is. I just want to go out there and work with the guys today and tomorrow and get ready for the weekend and coach, how we always coach.
Coach Creel, very quickly before we let you go, you've been now at Southern Miss a little while. Besides the natural maturing process, how are you a better coach now? What have you learned? What were your weaknesses as a younger coach that are now strengths, maybe?
Yeah, well, I think every year, every day, you're trying to get better. I mean, coaching is a big game of thievery, right? You're stealing from other coaches, and I've been fortunate to work under some great bosses here, obviously, with Coach Berry and Coach Oz, but even before under Lane Burroughs, and I can go on and on. So you're just taking stuff from guys that you work with, taking stuff from the guys you talk to and see, and you just try to get better every day. And believe me, this is I remember Coach Berry his last year still saying, I'm trying to keep getting better and keep getting smarter. So it's always trying to get better.
Hey, Coach, we appreciate your friendship. We appreciate you joining us every Wednesday. Always look forward to it, and look forward to talking to you again next week.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
Coach Travis Creel, everybody. On the road recruiting, by the way, up at Jones College. So it never ends, does it?
It's not this time of year, it doesn't.
No, it never ends. Get home late from Tulane, and you're back up the next day going to junior college.
And hopefully there's a lot more baseball to play.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Seth Smith is a big part of the team, and we're going to hear from that young man next.
Big news from Robinson Electric Supply in Laurel. We've moved. You'll now find us directly behind our old building, right by Sawmill Animal Hospital. We're still your trusted electrical distributor, carrying everything from conduit to tape. And don't forget our full line of Milwaukee tools. Whether you're a contractor or a DIY pro, stop by the new Robinson Electric Supply at 1222 West 6th Street and see what's lighting up Laurel. Robinson Electric Supply. New location, same trusted service.
You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour. The Eagle Hour. Southern Miss to the top.
Hey, I appreciate Travis Creel coming on every Wednesday. Out on the road recruiting. Big junior college game going on, huh, Kelly?
Yeah, the MACCC hosting its regionals next week. Pearl River has secured the number 1 seed, so they will host one of the regionals. The other regional will be hosted by either Jones or East Central up in Decatur. And then of those two regionals, the two winners will face each other at a super regional, and then the winner would then go on to the Junior College World Series in Enid, Oklahoma.
I got you. So that's where Coach Creel was. He was up there doing some scouting and took the time to talk to us, so we're grateful to him. All right, Eagle Tire West sponsors this segment of the show. Actually, just dropped one of my vehicles off there this morning. Met with Matt Warren. You can do the same. Great guy. They sell premium Goodyear tire products. They provide full auto and truck service at Eagle Tire West. They're next to Smith Motor Company on Highway 98 West, Eagle Tire and Eagle Tire West. They've been family operated here since 1985. They're big Southern Miss guys. They're local people. Why in the world would you go anywhere else, right?
And you know when you're going to Eagle Tire, that because they put money toward the Southern Miss cause.
That's correct.
So that's an indirect way to contribute to Southern Miss.
That's right. And you can go right down the road and buy yourself a new car if you like. That would be at Genesis of Hattiesburg, and that's because they are the official auto dealer of the Eagle Hour. Genesis sedans and SUVs, all from Mississippi's exclusive Genesis dealership, Highway 98 West in Hattiesburg. All right, Kelly, didn't turn out too good last night against Tulane, or is it Tulane? I think it's Tulane, but I could be wrong.
Depends on who you're talking to, of course.
Early in the year, one of the kids that caught my and Kelly's eye, and I think it's fair to say he's always kind of caught our eye, is Seth Smith. And you described him one time as very, very smooth. And I had a listener that I talked to this week after I had interviewed Seth Smith said, "You think he's smooth, you should have seen his father. His father was a smooth major league shortstop." Your thoughts before we take this interview from Seth Smith?
Well, to tell you how good his dad was, his dad played for the Tigers.
Well, there you go.
So
there you go.
What else do you need to say?
That's all you need to know.
Yeah, I know his dad. So he had the baseball knowledge and etiquette and acumen from the time he was a little kid. We saw that with Dustin Dickerson, right? A lot of these kids, and the dads will always say, "Look, I didn't push him to do this stuff because he's naturally around it. They just pick it up." And I remember when Seth Smith came on campus for the first time in Mobile, and I got to see him practice. And I pulled somebody aside and said, "Who is that kid?" And they said, "Oh, that's the Seth Smith." I said, "Man, for a freshman, an incoming freshman, man, he had all the tools that I could see to be a superstar."
And now he's nailed down the starting shortstop job. Talk to him Monday afternoon. Here's Seth Smith. Okay, Seth Smith on the SuperTalk Eagle Hour. Seth, when we last talked, you were kind of broken in as the shortstop. You're the everyday shortstop right now. How mentally and physically are you feeling?
I feel great, being able to do my job every day for these guys and them supporting me every step of the way. It feels pretty awesome, to be honest with you, to be quite frank. I love playing here. Like I've told you before, like this place is awesome. The fans are awesome. Teammates are awesome. Coaches are awesome. It's a great place to play.
You've really become, I think, effective at the plate as well at shortstop. You can lay bunts down. You've shown a lot of that. You can hit with some power, and you can base hit. Any one part of the game coming better to you right now than the other?
I think using me in a small ball type area, bunting wise, I've done a lot more frequently. It's how I grew up playing the game. It's how I played effectively in high school. Like it's one of the pieces of the game that stuck with me up until this point, and I think it's working for us here.
The team seems to have really gotten its stride, its confidence, its swagger back. Am I right about that?
You are right. The momentum we've carried up to this weekend, it's kind of come back for us, and we're going to continue to keep it rolling up until the end of the regular season.
I'm going to ask you what I've asked a lot of your teammates. How are you blocking out all the noise, all this national attention that the team is getting? Top 10 RPI, top 15 ranking.
Coach Oz says it a lot in our team meetings. It's just the next game. Next game is the most important game, and we just carry that mentality throughout the season.
As you look down the stretch here, what are the goals that you have set for yourself?
For myself, I'm just going out there and trying to do whatever I can to help the team win. We know we have capabilities to do special things here in the postseason, and whatever it takes for me to help us get to that goal, that's what I'm going to step out and do.
All right, you're at South Alabama this past weekend. You're a Mobile guy. As I told you, the South Alabama announcers were bemoaning all weekend that you're a Mobile guy and playing for Southern Miss. But you said this was a little special for you this weekend.
It was awesome to get back home and see all of the people that supported me growing up, and it was special. I think Friday night I had a good close to 20-30 people there. It was awesome just seeing people who have stuck by my side from day one and still support me to this day. It was incredible.
Seth, here's a fact. It appeared there were more Southern Miss fans there Saturday and Sunday than South Al fans.
It was awesome to see our fans travel there. I know it's not far from home or far from here, but being able to travel and carry that group to Mobile was awesome and played a pretty big factor in the weekend, in my opinion.
Mindset of the baseball team right now is what?
Continue carrying momentum. Take it one game at a time. The next game is the most important. I think we're confident in where we're at, and mentally. I think we're confident in where we're at performance-wise. I think we'll be just fine.
All right, Seth Smith, everybody, on the SuperTalk Eagle Hour. I did ask him, Kelly, a little later. I did run that part of the interview. But if you had a choice between hitting a game-winning home run, making a game-winning defensive play, or laying down a suicide squeeze bunt that wins the game, which would you take? He said the bunt. That's what he loves small ball.
That's what I would have said.
Yeah.
Because you would think that you should be able to do that. But we mentioned last week on the program that at the major league level, the San Francisco Giants, the Tampa Bay Rays, they are bringing bunting back into vogue. Mm-hmm. And part of the problem with these other teams is because they're major leaguers, they don't practice how to defense the bunts. So somebody will field it and nobody will be standing at first base.
Yeah, bunts can be very effective if they're handled. I think I've seen more of that out of this team this year than maybe the past several years.
We asked Coach Ostrander that a couple weeks ago. Do you remember his one-word response? He said, amen. He said, I'm glad the bunt is coming back because it can be used. And if the other team's defense doesn't know for sure what you're going to do, that's the ultimate element of surprise, right? If they know that you can bunt but aren't sure if you're going to, changes the entire way that you play defense and have to play defense.
Yeah. Well, Seth Smith kind of led the way with the comeback of the bunt here with this baseball team. One thing that was brought out last night, I've heard a lot of. I'll get your thoughts on this. Southern Miss is just not a running baseball team. I think they've maybe stolen 10 bases all year. That's just not their forte. Do you see other teams like that, Kelly, that just stay away from that type of baseball?
It's not that they stay away from that type of baseball. It's what does my team have the ability to do? Mm-hmm. Some teams, that's all they can do. The problem is those same teams cannot steal first base. So you get into that problem too. If I got guys that can run, but I can't get them to walk, I can't get them to get a base hit. Mm-hmm. So there are so many elements of baseball that now I have always liked, if you're in a draft situation, even in youth baseball, I like the singles and doubles hitters because I can move people around like that. Mm-hmm. But most other coaches want those big kids that are going to hit the home runs. Well, the problem with the kids that hit the home runs is if they're not hitting the home runs, what do they usually do? They strike out.
Correct.
Right? So you can't move people that way either. So coaches have to be able to have the flexibility to change with whatever their personnel allows them to do.
All right, you're a baseball guy, and I know people get upset when they lose a game like they did last night. I didn't like seeing them lose the game last night, but, they got out to a big lead. Bullpen didn't pitch very well, made some mistakes, hit a batter and then walked the batter, and that led to the problem. Got the lead back. You bring in your dude. You bring in Colby Allen. And, by every account, that's the right move. One bad pitch, Tulane's ahead. You can't catch up. And I hate this expression, but dadgummit, it's true, isn't it? That's just the game of baseball.
Camden Clark didn't have a good outing his last time. Colby, other than that one pitch, it was an okay outing. So if there's, and we're nitpicking here, and again, this is pre-production. If you're doing a movie or a play, everything that's gone on up to this point is pre-production. Showtime is when it all needs to come together. And showtime for a team like Southern Miss is the conference tournament and the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. That's when everything needs to come together. The problem, if I'm the director or producer of this show, is I have to be able to count on my closers. And Clark has, now a little bit inconsistent, looked really good in the start, right? And then didn't have a good outing. And then exactly the choice that he had, there really was no decision to make other than
he brought in the right guy.
Put in Colby Allen, and it didn't work.
It's just like Sunday. You brought in the right guy. You brought in Josh Ock. He's been a dude all year long. And Ock, he gets a fluky, infield double against him, and then one pitch up, and you're playing good teams. And anybody that doesn't think South Alabama and Tulane has Division I athletes on their baseball team is silly, right?
Well, and you just heard Coach Creel say if they had a couple of weekend starters,
they would be trouble.
The bullpen isn't the problem with Tulane. Any problem they've had this year is not because of the bullpen. Right. But if the Southern Miss, if the closing situation can tighten up just a hair and they can alleviate just a couple of those mistakes, they're going to be ready for showtime.
I agree. All right, we're going to take a little lighter thing, a little lighter approach to the next segment. We're going to hear from Kinsley Gordon-Sivley, who Kelly tells me is a delightful young woman and married to the stoic Cross Sivley.
And she's a member of the Red Hot women's softball team right now.
No question. We'll be right back.
Southern Miss to the top. To the top. You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. DBAT sponsors this segment of the program down on Hardy Street, where you go for baseball and softball training. Great pro shop down there. Gift cards, that's a good idea. Summer camps, there's all reasons to go to DBAT on Hardy Street. Ask for Luke Reynolds, the GM down there, and tell him the guys at Eagle Hour said they really appreciate his support of our program, and we truly do. All right, be there Saturday. That's when Southern Miss will be curb stomping Louisiana Monroe. And before the game, MCS Home Center giving away 2,000 T-shirts, really nice T-shirts. We've seen them. MCS on the front, MCS Home Center bleeds black and gold on the back. And, excuse me, Kelly, there's a rumor. I got to go see it for myself. There's a rumor that the man himself, Scott Berry, is going to hand out all those T-shirts.
Well, over 2,000.
2,000, as I understood it. Now we'll try to find that out for sure.
I don't know. He might hurt his labrum or something handing out.
He
that
could,
many.
or pull a hamstring like he did, that time in the regionals. Yeah, I'm sure Hill Denson will come sign autographs, take pictures, and hand out a shirt or two.
Well, I can't wait for Hill's new book. Hill's got a book coming out.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it's entitled "He's So Stupid."
It's named after the most famous question ever asked by an Eagle Hour employee was Kelly about the Super Regionals.
That's about Hill's response to everything nowadays, though, isn't it?
He didn't even blink when he said that to you on the air.
He's so stupid.
All right, MCS Home Center, 2,000 T-shirts this Saturday. Also, make sure you take care of yourself. You're the most important player on the team. Get an annual physical. Be sure your health is as good as it can be. Your insurance will pay for an annual physical. And if you run into any issues, we've got Forest Health right here in our community with expert medical care closer to home. Really grateful to have that great facility here, foresthealth.org.
You were talking about curb stomping Louisiana Monroe. Mike Hammett's going to be on the party tomorrow, the radio voice of the Warhawks. And he might have a little something else to say about that.
Yeah, well, we'll tell him and see what he says. Yeah, we appreciate him coming on. All right, Kelly, I've been waiting for this. I want you to set this up.
Well, she's something else. Kinsley Gordon-Sivley is the starting center fielder for the Southern Miss softball team, which is setting all kinds of records this year. I mean, last weekend, a perfect game thrown by Kayla Giardina, the pitcher. They play Louisiana Monroe this weekend in Monroe. Monroe is in second. The Eagles are tied for third, so they can do their own heavy lifting here. But she just goes about her job. She had a grand slam home run this past weekend. It's her only home run of the year. But I think, rightly or wrongly, one of her bigger claims to fame is being married to Southern Miss pitcher Cross Sivley. All right, Kinsley, let's talk about this. First question is, we know that you and Cross met your freshman year, but really didn't start, I think talking is the kids' lingo now, until after that first semester. Why not until after the first semester?
Yes, that is true. First of all, it was me, him, and his sister, and I didn't really know that they were brother and sister at the time, but we all had class together, and he told me after the fact, when he finally started talking to me, that he didn't want to start talking to a girl in front of his sister, and so I was like, okay, that's fair, but then once we started talking, there was no turning back, I guess. So.
And I think a lot of people would jokingly be surprised that he even talks at all.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's very, very laid back, and I'm sure y'all can tell on the mound. He is calm and just very reserved, but around me, that's not the case.
We've joked about, is there anything that upsets him? And other than his parents, you know him better than anybody. So inquiring minds want to know what upsets Cross Sivley.
Yes. Definitely if I'm on my phone and not talking to him. But another thing is if he does not get his protein in. Like if he's late for a meal, you best believe he's going to get a little grouchy. He needs 6 meals a day.
He's got to have that protein.
Yes, sir, for sure.
Okay, now the other story that's been floated is that because his quads and his thighs and his legs are so big, of course, comes from a karate background, that he has difficulty finding regular pants off the rack.
Oh, yeah. It was a struggle to find him some khakis for Easter, I'll tell you that.
So but you have to get like...
We have to get a very extra size in the waist. But he's not that tall, so the length is a little shorter. So they don't make very many, so we have to special order them sometimes.
Yeah, that waist, he's got a lot more waist than he needs.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I love him just how he is. So.
Yeah. And how did you know that that you guys clicked? How soon after you guys started, air quotes, talking?
Yeah, I think it was just a Jesus thing. Like as soon as we met, we were like, oh yeah, we're each other's person. It was a pretty cool little thing.
That is a cool thing. All right, let's talk a little bit about softball. You guys have got your own work ahead of you with South Al coming in this weekend, and then you've still got Monroe. All the work as far as the seeding goes is in your own hands. How was the morale this week heading into the South Al series, and what do you expect this weekend?
I would say we're really excited. Obviously, losing our first series of the year last weekend, we know we have to come back out and punch back. We're definitely preparing as best as we can, and obviously we're not letting our midweek get our hopes down or anything. We're ready to go. So yeah.
When you look at this team out, and I was talking to Coach about this, outsiders looking in say this just doesn't add up. As young as this team is,
Right.
how are they succeeding? How do you? Because you normally associate success with veteran leadership and so on. So how are you guys doing it? What's your explanation?
I would just say that we gel very well. No matter if you're on the field, off the field, coaching, like whoever we are, we all have each other's back, and I think you can see that, like from a fan perspective, from like any perspective, you can see that. Like if you get out, I have your back, and you'll see some of us do it, like when we're hitting or when we make an error. We always look at that person and we tell them like, "Hey, I got you. Like you didn't get the job done, but I know I can for you." And so, yeah.
Do you or Cross ever talk shop? Does he ever bring baseball home, or do you ever take softball home?
Not often. Like we'll talk about our individual performances and just like see how each other would handle it, or like try to lift each other up. And but other than like, we don't see each other much. There's about once or twice a week we see each other. So we try to shy away from the softball, baseball thing and just live our own lives away from that.
And you've got your lives ahead of you. What do you see in you guys professionally in, say, the next 10 years?
Right. So I'm actually an assistant teacher right now, but I'm not real sure what his plans are. He obviously would love to be a farmer or play baseball for sure, but I definitely could see maybe a businessman or something in the future for him.
Now tell me about farming. What about that?
Yes. So obviously I told you about his protein. So my grandparents, they have some cows, and I live on like in the country, and so he came to visit my place and he like fell in love with it, and so we eventually took him to like a farm, and like he has fallen in love with all things farming. So that is his like dream, is to have a farm, have our own cows, chickens, everything.
Wow, kind of a Green Acres thing, huh?
Yeah.
Could you hit him? If you would have pitched some baseballs or softballs, could you hit him?
I always tell him that I would hit him, but to be honest, I don't know that I could. He's pretty special out there, so I'm not real sure.
Could he hit any of your teammates? If they were on the softball pitching mound, could he get up there with a stick, even though he doesn't hit? He was a pretty good hitter back in the day, but
I would say he could, just because when we go and like train together in the summer, I'll be struggling off a pitching machine and he'll just go up there and hack off of it, and I'm just like, this makes no sense. You're a pitcher. But he's insanely athletic. I'm sure you know that, all the backflips he does and his mechanics, everything is just, he's just crazy.
Well, we are so glad of the success that you guys are having, and we wish you nothing but the best going forward.
Well, thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
And and again, a reminder that was recorded last week, just prior to the South Al series.
How delightful
that they swept South Al.
Yeah, what a great kid, huh?
See each other twice a week.
Is that right?
Well, yeah, she just said, between her softball schedule, his baseball schedule, and I don't know if you saw, Bob, that the Southern Miss released a report last week of the cumulative grade point averages of all sports, men and women.
Baseball and softball at the top.
Baseball was number one.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. So, they take it very seriously,
they
but
do.
It both seems very grounded and
What a great story.
Myrtle, Mississippi.
Well, what we're going to do when the season's over, we've talked to both of these young people, and they're agreeable to do it. We're going to bring them both to the studio, and we're going to have them here together. That should be really fun.
Which means you might be one of the first and only people to hear Cross-Sivley talk.
Yeah. What did it take Travis 18 months where he learned his language? Is that what he just said?
Hopefully we won't get him so upset that we get a rats.
A rats. Yeah. We don't. All right. When we come back from the other side of the break, the latest projections are out. D1 postseason baseball projections. What do you think, Kelly? Are the Golden Eagles still hosting according to D1?
Yeah, I think they're solid. I really do. And the men's golf team is bidding for a conference championship. Today is the final round. We'll tell you where they stack up. And I'll just put it to you this way before going into the break. They've got a shot.
Well, good for them. Hey, as we head into the break, weekend coming up, how about Mo Bay Beignet Company? That'd be a great place this weekend to go get some delicious beignets. They're located at 2902 Hardy Street. You can check out their Facebook page. Kelly generally knows the topping of the month.
Peach
topping.
Yes.
That sounds pretty good.
Very Southern, isn't it?
Yeah. SuperTalk Eagle Hour Podcast. It's available every day on Apple, Audible, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube. You can tell Alexa or Siri to play the Eagle Hour for you, and we sure appreciate all of you that tune in that way, and there are a lot of you, every single month. The numbers are pretty amazing.
I can't understand it.
When you consider the two hosts.
Yes.
All right, postseason projections next.
Big news from Robinson Electric Supply in Laurel. We've moved. You'll now find us directly behind our old building, right by Sawmill Animal Hospital. We're still your trusted electrical distributor, carrying everything from conduit to tape. And don't forget our full line of Milwaukee tools. Whether you're a contractor or a DIY pro, stop by the new Robinson Electric Supply at 1222 West 6th Street and see what's lighting up Laurel. Robinson Electric Supply. New location, same trusted service.
The Eagle Hour. Southern Miss to the top.
Hey, welcome back. I want to thank Kinsley Gordon-Sivley for joining us, Travis Creel as well, and of course enjoyed talking to Seth Smith as well in this edition of the Eagle Hour. All right, got a place you want to take your gold and silver, well, and turn it into cash? We would suggest that you take it to Movie Star Restaurant. No, I'm kidding. We would suggest that you take it to Jewel Masters on Highway 98 West in Hattiesburg. Marty Vick's been buying gold jewelry longer than anyone in the Pine Belt, and no one will be more fair to you and give you the best value for your property than Marty will. There are not two better people in the world than Marty and Cindy Vick. Jewel Masters, Highway 98 West in Hattiesburg. And I guess I was thinking about the Movie Star because I think about buffet meals and Southern cooking and fried chicken and pork chops. And as Daniel Stewart reminded me Tuesday when he co-hosted the show, the meatloaf at Movie Star, pretty daggum good.
Yeah, but while you're on the subject, go on.
You've eaten a few plates.
I was
there,
really enjoying just talking about the food over
I
there.
could just see the look on your face. Now, you know, Kelly, as some of you may know, is a rather strange man. And just out of the blue during the break, he brings up, of all people, Bobby
Vinton.
And he's over there looking it up to see if he's alive.
He's 91, Bob.
Well, how in the hell did Bobby Vinton come into your brain, Kelly?
Because we got talking about women and how often.
And it was your walk-up song.
Yeah, my walk-up song was Mr. Lonely by Bobby Vinton because women always reject me, right? So
that was it.
So he said, Bobby Vinton, I said, yes, he's still alive. He's 91, just turned 91.
Close your eyes for just a second, everyone. Picture Kelly in a Southern Miss baseball uniform, walking up to the plate at the peak, crowd roaring, and Mr. Lonely playing as the walk-up song.
Although, you know what, Bob, you just did a lot for Bobby Vinton's career because younger people are probably Googling that song as we speak.
In the world are them two old guys talking about?
You remember, that was a great song.
Oh, yeah.
Back in, 1950?
Correct, yes, Kelly. You were, what, 30 then, right?
Yeah.
In early 30s?
It's just a number. Age is just a number.
All right, postseason baseball, we always rely on D1 for their projections. Here's their latest. In the last four teams in the regionals, they include Texas State from the Sun Belt. They think Texas State now may make a regional. The last four out, they think Arkansas State may be playing its way out of a regional. They have a regional in Conway, South Carolina, Coastal, of course. Coastal hosting number 2 Tennessee, number 3 Western Carolina, and number 4 Campbell.
The Campbell Camels, the Fighting Camels.
Yes.
Of Campbell. Look, as long as Tennessee is there, I'm good with that.
Just keep them away from us.
That's right. But then, of course, our listeners want to know, Bob, what about the Eagles?
And we'll have that tomorrow. No.
I was going to say, you wouldn't do that to us.
D1 has a Hattiesburg regional, and I like this. Number 2 seed, Oklahoma. Number 3, Pittsburgh. Number 4, Southeast Missouri State.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Now that would be a reasonable regional there.
It's still hard for me to think of Oklahoma as an SEC team.
Well, there shouldn't be. I mean, there's nothing about the Southeast that seems remotely close to Norman, Oklahoma. But
Well, and I went to Iowa State. They were always in the Big 8, Big 12.
they should be in the Big 12, don't you think?
Yeah, but
Oklahoma?
I think that's a decent regional.
No, I mean, I think that'd be a great regional for Southern Miss. I think that would be a decent regional for Coastal, and I think that would give these two teams a legitimate opportunity to maybe advance to a
So where do they have those?
See, you're going to bring that up.
If they have Southern Miss and Coastal, they would have them as national seeds somewhere. Right. And the reason I ask that is because if each of those teams were to happen, this is all hypothetical, of course, that if they won their regionals, would they get to host a super regional?
Well, let's look here.
So if you're in one of the top...
I'm trying to find it, Kelly.
Is it top 8 or top 12, I think, because it goes from 64...
16.
To 16, okay.
Correct.
So, and I would think that Southern Miss would probably be in that 13 to 15 range, somewhere in there.
I think I found it again.
Okay, as a national seed. Now, Coastal, of course, would be ranked better at this point, but we still have 2 weekends left to go.
Well, they still have Southern Miss opposite of UCLA. So if Southern Miss were to win this regional hypothetically, they would probably go to Los Angeles to play UCLA. That sounds great, doesn't it?
Well, that's not – I mean, UCLA's not going to like that.
I wouldn't think. Let's see where Coastal would go.
Well, maybe see we got Hollywood Dima out there. We should just leave him out there.
Maybe just let him stay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he
UCLA.
I'm sure he wouldn't object to that. Coastal would be matched up with the Lawrence, Kansas regional.
Lawrence, Kansas.
Yes, they have Kansas, Virginia, Missouri State, and Oral Roberts, and Coastal's regional would be. This is a projection,
right?
Would be matched with the Lawrence, Kansas regional.
Well,
and Southern Miss would get the UCLA.
Although
regional.
just on the surface, it looks like Southern Miss would have a better regional. They would have a tougher super regional.
Which I guess
Coastal
obviously
would.
means that they were giving Southern Miss the number 16 national seed because you would play the number 1 national seed. Am I right about that?
If they both won.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right. Well, it's a projection. Up next, beat Louisiana Monroe 3 games in a row. Right?
Yeah, and again, Mike Hammett's going to join us tomorrow. That's not going to be easy to do. Speaking of the conference, the men's golf tournament winds up today. They're playing up at Annandale in Madison. I don't know how the weather last night affected play today, but going into today's final round, Coastal Carolina leads 9 under par. JDMU.
Yeah, okay.
They're in second place at 6 under par. Arkansas State 5 under. Then the Eagles at 4 under. So if they have a good final round and get a little help, the men could win the conference title.
All right, we will hear from the Monroe play-by-play voice tomorrow, and also go visit our friend down on the Gulf Coast and get an update on his view of Sunbelt baseball when the Eagle Hour continues tomorrow. Thank you for listening, everybody. Southern Miss.
To the top.
To the sea. Fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. I want to fly like an eagle till I'm free.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.